Three, two, and one. Howdy, everyone. Welcome to Rare Thoughts with the Perry Picasso. I'm your host, Perry Picasso, and today I'm joined by a very lovely guest.
Gabby.
Woo! Hello, Gabby.
Hello.
Gabby is an incredible artist. Her work is just so lovely and incredible, and I'm just so excited to learn more about you right now. What are your pronouns?
She, her, they.
Slay. I am he, she, they. And so, yeah, she has a piece right now at the Cheech Museum for the Desde Los Cielos group show on from right now until March 16 of 2025. So go check it out. And you have a piece in there titled.
No los gastes.
It is a beautiful, beautiful piece in which I'm so excited to learn more about. I've been like the moment when you dropped it off at the museum and we walked in and saw, I was like, oh, this is a banger. Like, this is such a dope piece. So I've been dying to like dive deeper into it. But before we learn more about that piece, I would love to learn more about you, sort of your upbringing, how you got into art, your journey along with it. Like, yeah, let us know a little more.
Okay, so
Like, have you always been doing art since you were a kid, or was this something that sort of emerged later on in life?
I think I did like grow up doing art. I was mostly like influenced by like my dad doing like installation work because he was like a
Oh.
sign maker. Like he's always been like a sign maker ever since like he's gone to the like came to this country. So
Like sign makers, like the people who do the lettering with the
oh
hand
yeah.
painting on like the windows and stuff like that, or like,
Like the signs that like light up for like stores and stuff.
wait, what do you mean? Let's like neon?
Yeah, or like signs like on top of like oh, I don't even know, like stores.
Okay, okay, that's cool. So then you said you were inspired by that from him doing all of that?
Yeah.
Would you ever help him do like works with that?
Yeah, he would like take like the family out, like mostly like my brother and me and my sisters like would go out and he would like we would like help him like put like install those signs like around like the IE or like whenever like he had like a job in like LA, like he would go out and like install those signs
Hmm.
for like small businesses or like bigger businesses. Like it was just like everywhere, like yeah.
Hmm. And what about that sort of inspired you?
I think like now like well before like I wasn't like really into that because I felt like I couldn't do that because it was
Hmm.
like more like kind of like a man's work or
Okay.
something. But
Right,
like
right.
but like now like I feel like I could do it like what like just by myself like installing things. I
Hmm.
feel like now I like to do like I find that like joy or like I guess like nostalgia.
Okay.
And now I just like enjoy that like installation work and like like just like installing things and creating like a different space.
Hmm. Were you, when you were in high school, were you also doing sort of art in that as well, like for your classes?
Yeah, like I only took like AP art.
Okay.
So like my last year, like senior year, and I only did like painting and like drawing, but
Okay.
like I only like started like exploring like installation work and like other like woodwork and like sculpture in college in like my last 2 years of college.
Okay. So then when you graduated from high school and you went to college, did you go for arts or was it for something else?
No, I went for political science.
Oh, okay. How long were you, was it, did you graduate with political science or did you switch?
Yeah, I graduated with political science, but I changed my minor to studio art.
Okay. I would love to hear a little more about your college experience. Like, how was that like? Because you went for political science, but then you did a minor in studio art. So, how was that sort of transition? Like, doing a lot of, I'm guessing you were doing more political science than art. Um, yeah, how was that sort of balance of going between the two worlds? Because they're very different.
Yeah. So the reason like why I wanted to like stay in like politics, like minor in like political science is because I wanted to be like in like government.
Okay.
But then like I felt like that wasn't really like my calling. But at the same time, like I was like in my art, like I do focus on like addiction and stuff,
Mm.
like culture and just um and so I'm going blank. I don't know why.
No, you're good. It happens. Okay, so it seems to me that like there is some of these elements that you're still bringing in again of the politicalness into your art, because even like the one they have in there of yeah, you said like talking about these nuances of addiction or of the complications of sort of essentially like brown folks in the system and sort of like all of these different nuances. So you said you wanted to go into government. Did you want to be like a lawyer or like a
Yeah.
attorney or I don't know. I don't know very much legal jargon.
I did, but then like I kind of like felt like that wasn't really like my calling,
Mm.
like I could like do something else with what I'm doing
Mhm.
and like also like help like represent that kind of like my inner voice
Mhm.
and what happening.
Yeah.
I don't know how to like
You wanted to
say
sort
that
of
in
like express yourself a little
yeah,
more. Yeah. No, of
like
course.
personally.
Mhm. Because I would imagine it's a little bit more difficult to express yourself like that in
Yeah.
politics. It's quite literally politics. You have to like, act a certain way, be a certain way, sort of, there's laws and things that you have to abide by.
Mhm.
But I'm guessing that it was still somewhat interesting for you to like what were your classes like for politics? I'm so intrigued because I know nothing about that world.
Um, it was kind of hard, like connecting with like my classmates or like
Okay.
with the teachers or the professors. I felt like in high school I connected more
Hmm.
with like my classmates, but like because like we lived in the same like area, like in the
Right.
same school, we go to the same school, like
You're all generally
yeah,
this like you grew up similarly, and then once you
hmm
go to college, you're like, oh,
yeah.
I don't relate to any of you actually.
So that was like really different. I didn't really talk to like my professors that often. But like when I took my first painting class, that's when I started like connecting more with the professors. Like
Okay.
with my first painting professor, Melanie, like I
Shout
really
out Melanie.
yeah, Melanie. She really like encouraged me that like oh like you know like you can do this
Hmm.
like all the time, like it doesn't have to be like a hobby to you, like
Hmm.
and I was just like intrigued by like the whole like art world, and that's when I was like okay, like this is where like I belong and this is like my home, and this is like my family, like so I sticked with it.
Okay. Slay. Okay. How was your first painting class like? Had you, because you said you'd painted before, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But for my first painting class,
Yeah.
like in high school or
In
like in
in
college,
college.
um, we didn't have much freedom, but
Okay.
it was mostly like assignments and stuff. But
Okay.
I like to me like it wasn't like boring at all. Like I felt like it was like really like I learned a bunch of like techniques and skills, and that's when I like started like to like kind of like think of like oh like what could I do with like my own ideas,
Hmm.
and like kind of like venture off like alone,
Yeah.
and then for my second painting class for intermediate, that's when I met my professor Brad, and then that's when he like just like pushed me,
Oh, okay.
and he was like giving out like assignments that were like all about like venturing off like with your like creativity, and I really did like that, and that's when like I started like finding that like my kind of like style
Hmm.
with like kind of like saturated like
Hmm.
works, and yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. Okay, so you had professors that were very encouraging then.
Yes,
Okay.
I feel like school has been like my safe place, and
Really?
yeah.
I'm so happy for you. I'm like a little bit jealous because I'm like, I wish I had that. But I'm glad to hear that every time like a artist are like, no, school was very good for me. So then it sounds like they were very sweet for you then. They were
Yeah.
very wanting for you to pursue it and encourage you to follow your voice.
Mhm.
Okay. That's very sweet. For those, you said the first one was mainly just sort of like, I'm guessing like beginning drawing, sort of,
Mhm.
or sorry, beginning painting, like learning like the fundamentals. And the second one was when they were like really like starting to push you.
Mhm.
Okay. How, at that time, what themes or what sort of subject were you exploring or doing?
Well, at first, like, well, during like intermediate, it was like all about like performance work
Ooh, you were
and
doing performances.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think that like helped me like get out of like my shell
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like really like shy and like I don't really like to talk much and like I'm like in my bubble a lot, but like when I do like performance work, it makes me feel like oh like like I'm not like this shy little girl, like you know, like I'm like I can like have my own voice and that I'm not like scared of like what everyone like thinks of me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I do wish like I can go back to that, but now like I don't know, like I feel like I've mellowed out like a bit recently, but maybe like in the future I could like venture off again.
I'm intrigued. What performances would you do?
Like
Like, if there's any that you feel comfortable sharing, because I know that performances can sometimes be a very intimate process.
yeah.
That maybe you're like, no, that's exclusive. But I would love to hear if you were able to share.
So like I did this one piece like in Valentine's Day where
Okay.
it's like I also like put in like what I learned with like in my political science class like called like the
Hmm.
Nicomachean ethics, and it was like
What's that?
about like the golden mean, like where it's like excess or deficiency. And like to me like I kind of like thought about like addiction, like where you
Mm.
can't meet the middle, like you can't
Hmm.
take just one drink, like you gotta drink like the whole thing or nothing, like
Right.
it's all about all of it or nothing. And like I think like that's like in my head, like I feel like it's like you have to risk it all or like
It's either all or nothing.
yeah. And I feel like with that like being said, like I did that piece with like centering like addiction,
Hmm.
and and it was about like well I was like on top of this canvas piece, and and I had this like carton of like red dye of water, and then in the background it was the Mexican Dream song,
Hmm.
and I had like chugged like the whole like um
Liquid.
liquid, and like all like the liquid had like spilled out side of the canvas, like representing like how like your decisions not only like affect yourself but like
Everyone
outside
around.
of
Yeah.
yeah like your community, your loved ones, like it's like it slowly like like
It's.
spills out to
Hmm.
other people. And yeah, and so that's what I kind of like put together
Hmm.
for Valentine's Day. So yeah, that was like my first like performance piece that I really um like like felt like oh like I'm not just like I'm a part of like my piece, like
Yeah.
I'm a part of the artwork. And that's when like I started like having like thinking of like people like interacting with the work now.
Mm. Okay. So then, that was gonna be my question of like, what was it about the performances that you really enjoyed and brought with you with your paintings?
That Um, so like that kind of like made me want to do more interactive work,
Okay.
like more community, like people are able like to come in and like kind of like play with the work.
Hmm. When you did any of your other performances, did you include the audience as well?
Um,
Or was it mainly sort of like you performing in front of the crowd?
yeah, me
Okay.
performing in front of people.
Hmm. Okay. Um, so this was, you said the second art class was you did this performance. What other performances were you doing at the time?
Mostly like stuff like that. Like I
Okay.
just wanted to like explore more like on like what's it called? Like what I could do with that like aspect, like the liquid, the
Hmm.
dye, the red dye, and then it slowly turned into like performance where like people are able to like interact with the piece. So like now it's not just like a painting, it's like the people like performing that like movement, the change
Hmm.
of like movement. And then yeah.
Okay. Um, when you started doing a lot more art, how was your family? Like, what were they thinking when you were like, "Hey, I want to do a little bit of art as well"?
Um like my mom had like thought like, "Oh, like why are you like changing like your like your path now like
Hmm.
all of a sudden like." And then but she wasn't like surprised like cuz like I
Okay.
tend to like go back and forth like with like my decisions, and like I have a hard time like just staying right there
Hmm.
like. But um my mom wasn't really surprised, or like
Okay.
my family wasn't. They were just like, "Oh, like if she wants to do art, like okay, like
Letter. Okay.
yeah."
Oh, that's very sweet of them. Okay. And then when you graduated um university or college, you graduated with political science and a minor in art. And afterwards, did you jump straight into doing art afterwards, or was it a sort of a slow gradual?
Mm, I had like okay, so like during like my last year, I had like a solo show.
Ooh,
So yeah, and
congrats.
it was thank you.
Woo! What was that about? Or
It was about like my like inner like thoughts about like growing up in like a dysfunctional like family,
mm-hmm.
and it also like depicted about like addiction, and like I had this like huge like piñata like centered on the floor, that it was like a self portrait of me, and it had like hair on the
Oh,
ends of the cones.
mm-hmm.
And then like I had my friends had came, and it was just like for the opening, like it became like a performance piece where like my friends had like started like braiding my hair like unexpectedly.
Oh.
And I was just like, oh, like I like that's when I was like, okay, like I want to do more of like that kind of like aspect,
Mm-hmm.
like interactive work. And I also had these two paintings like on the ends of the walls, and it was like my sister and then a portrait of me, and they were both like interactive where like you can ring the bells or move like the pieces on the sides. And then on the walls I had painted them, like I didn't know if I could have permission to do that, but I did. So I was like, okay,
Period.
like whatever, like I'm gonna paint it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I painted it. It was like abstract, and yeah, so that was my first solo show. And then after that, like um there was an artist like around like the Garcia Center,
Mm-hmm.
and and I that's the time when I started like kind of meeting like the other people from the Garcia Center. And like that's when I met like Eric and Adam and Vanessa, and
Mm-hmm.
like all those like other artists that are usually there. And then one of the artists had came up to me and like saw that I had a solo show,
Mm-hmm.
and they saw like my piñata piece where it was like all interactive.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Oh, like actually like we they had texted me and said, "Oh, do you want to do a collaboration piece?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm down. Like I could do that." And it was like my first like time like somebody had messaged me and said, "You want to do like a
Mm-hmm.
collab?" And then they had came up to me and said, "Oh, like actually this is for the Riverside Art Museum." and do you wanna do the installation piece, the
Mhm.
with the three like boxes?" And
Yes.
I was like, "Oh my god, like, yes, I do." And then I started freaking out at the Garcia Center. I couldn't talk, and then I was just like, "What the hell?" And then I told, like, my girlfriend, and then she was just like, "What the hell? Like, that's crazy." And then that's when, I that's when I started, like, the other, like, exhibition that
Mhm.
I worked with. It was, like, heliotropo, and it was about, like the phenomenon where like sunflowers like they follow the sun,
Mhm. Okay.
and but then when they grow up, like they don't follow the sun anymore, like they just stay there. And I thought of like breaking like the cycle, like
Mhm.
breaking the cycle of addiction. Like you don't have to follow like your parents' footsteps, or like you
Hmm.
just break that cycle, and you're like growing, you're your own flower. Mm, so that's why that's like that's why I wanted it to center with like sunflowers.
Mhm.
So yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I want to say I think that was the first time I ever saw your work was at the Riverside Art Museum, and I was like, this is pretty dope. And at the time, you also had candy there too, no?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I
So
remember that.
yeah, the candies like also like represent like, so like whenever like my dad would like kind of like stop his like try to like stop his addiction, like mend the cravings, like he would do that with candy. So whenever
Mm.
we were little, like we'd have like a bunch of candies because we did like a lot of parties. And like whenever he would try to stop, he would take our candies away and like try to
Mm.
mend that craving.
Mhm.
And that's why I like to like incorporate like candies, like Mexican candies into my work, because like that would help like a lot of like people that like struggle with addiction, like
Mm.
to crave the the what's it called? The
The sugar.
urges.
Mhm.
Yeah.
To replace that with candy instead.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that that was sort of a tactic or sort of like a yeah, something that they could use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, what else was in that? Because it was the three, what's it called? What do they call those boxes?
I don't know the box. I just call them
Yeah,
boxes.
there's a proper terminology, but yes, there was the three boxes. What was in the first, second, and third one?
Okay, so the first one was like me and my sister, like a
Mhm.
portrait, or not a portrait, like a painting, like of me and my sister with like black Velcro dots, and like different like pieces of like little like butterflies, fishes, like around them where the audience can like move them around.
Hmm.
And then in the bottom, it's like building blocks, like handmade building blocks. And then the third one is like the wheel,
Yes,
and
that's the one I remember a lot.
and that would represent like the wheel like of like faith or something to me, like
Hmm.
where, because there was like a like I learned that there was like this statistics where like 1 out of 3 like kids that like grew up with like a parent that's an addict, like they either like marry into or they become one.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that kind of like scared me when
Mm.
like growing up, like, oh, like who is it gonna be? Like, is it gonna be me, or is it gonna be like my siblings? Like, and it's like this like wheel, like which one of you, like,
Oh, it's kind of yeah, like a wheel of fortune,
yeah.
but like fucked up.
Mm-hmm. And then at the bottom it's like candies, like the addiction, like.
Mm.
And then the other one is the sunflowers, like
Okay.
kind of kind of like breaking that like cycle. And then at the top, there's like piñatas like up with like hairs, and then like a butterfly like centered. So like yeah, like kind of like heading to like a new direction like of your life. Something like that.
Okay. That's beautiful. I know it's a very heavy and very sort of difficult thing to grow up with and have to navigate. And this is I think, a very beautiful metaphor to represent that. I think that the game, I don't know, there's something about the desire to make it sweeter than it is.
Mhm.
You know, like you're trying to like almost like tackle this in like a playful way, almost like how a
Yeah.
kid, we're sort of like if somebody would be like, "There's a 1 in 3 chance," and it's like a kid might be like, "Oh, like a game or something," you know,
Yeah.
like it's sort of like how I'm thinking about a lot of these, and same with like the piñatas. What is the with the piñatas? I know you said earlier that you did used to do a lot of birth parties, sorry.
Mhm.
So I'd imagine there was a lot of piñatas in there.
Yeah.
What other sort of symbolism or sort of connections do you have with the piñatas? Like, did you used to make them growing up? Did you, I don't know, was there like a piñata that you really loved, or like, what's the connections
Mm.
with that?
We would just like always like that was just like a part of our like tradition, like
Mhm.
just like a bunch of like piñatas, like just I think that was just like a way to take out our anger as a kid. Like I just like felt like okay, like this is my chance.
Right. This is the one time I get to beat the shit out of something and no one can say no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or like the adults would come in, like like the old like adults,
Hmm.
like your older family members would just like come in, like I don't know, like I just like felt like oh this is just like tradition.
Hmm. That makes sense. Okay. So then after, so then you start doing that, and then are you continuing to, I'm guessing, make work after this? Like, okay.
Yeah.
After this was sort of was your sort of, I guess, next like piece or series or anything that you continued after this?
I wanted to make like a pop out like picture book, like
Uh-huh.
kind of like a book, like a kid's book,
That's
and like,
cute.
but also like interactive. Like, I don't know how to like describe it. I'm not really good with like my words.
Wait, I think I might have something. I'm telling you, I love books and I love picture books. Right now,
Oh,
that you said that you would want to do, I have this book by Hermes. It's a pop-up book,
oh my God, yeah, something like this.
and it's literally so like right now they have just sort of like these pop-ups, but there's a couple like this one that is sort of interactive.
Oh my God, yeah.
Some are a little more. Let me see. There's another one like this one. I think is really cute. Little hearts. This one like fully like switches. I can't do this one because I have a band-aid on. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
There's another one that I really. This one I think is really pretty. Hold on.
Mm,
This one. This one is the one that I love.
yeah, something like
Okay.
this.
Slay. Okay, so you want to do like a whole pop-up book with,
Yeah.
I'm guessing, where they be new paintings?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to do a whole new sort of series of paintings. Okay.
Hmm.
I think that makes absolute perfect sense for you to like continue. You're welcome to look through it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I love this book.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's, I love the idea of like making the art sort of
Like move around.
have movement. I am very much of the same way of like believing art is something that is interactive, something you live with, something that sort of like is not stagnant, sort of on the wall, and trying to, yeah, make it as much of a world for people to see themselves and enter it.
Hmm. It's also like really like calming to me. Like I don't know, like I like usually have a lot of anxiety. So, so it's just like really calming. Like I feel like I could like just like do this for days.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I love this book. It calms me down. Whenever I need like a good little smile, I pull it out and I'm just like, this is so fun. And each one of these, they also have sometimes like their own little story to accompany the like artworks. So I think this makes absolute sense. And I would love one once you like make one. We need to make that happen. Um, do you know what you would want to be painting? Would it be, I'm guessing, continuation of what you're exploring already, but just sort
Yeah.
of in book form?
Yeah, I wanted to do like this like story about like these five like flowers. So like my siblings
Aw.
where like they're like not following the sun anymore. Like kind of
Mhm.
like that story. Like you don't have to follow like that steps.
Mhm.
Like those like those harmful like habits that your family like does. Like you
Mhm.
can just be your own and like cut off from that. And yeah.
Oh, I think it's a beautiful story. I think that would be really, really good. Um, and would it all be sort of told like almost like the different flowers and like you're following them as well?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Did you want to see pictures or
Do you have some work? I would love to see.
yeah, like it's on my like
Let me see.
tablet.
Let's see. Do you already have it like sketched out of things that you want?
Yeah.
Oh, she got a storyboard going on in here. Okay. Have you shown anyone else this?
Only like my girlfriend.
So I have the exclusive. This is beautiful. Would this be like the cover or like
Yeah, that would be
helio? What is it? How do you pronounce it again?
tropo.
Heliotropo.
And then like these would be like my siblings,
Oh,
like as like kids, and then they would grow up, and that's me.
oh, this is beautiful. They're all sunflowers.
Yeah.
Los girasoles. Well, thank you for sharing. Oh, I feel so honored and lucky to be able to see that before it's like finalized. Okay.
Thank you, Perry.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing. I'm so excited. I guess now is a great time to like learn more about the piece you have right now at the museum. Um, so let me pull it up. So I- Gabby has a piece in there titled No Los Gastes, made in 2024, and her blurb goes, a family portrait. After receiving my lucky $2 bill from an aunt during my birthday, my dad tells me, slurring his words, no lo gastes, tu tía se regaló para que puedas tener buena suerte.
Hmm.
Such a strong and powerful statement. Literally, just like you just, at least for me, like I read that and I was like, oh shit, yeah. So like, please tell us more about this piece. How did it come about? How, yeah, whatever comes to mind.
So when like before I had started like college, I read this like this journal. Like it was like this like online blog where like people would like put down like their like writing and stuff and like um and then I had came across this one called like the lucky $2 bill.
Mm,
And it was I had really connected to her story because I was like, "Oh, like that's how I feel like." And it was like her journey like trying to like kind of like like navigating her life with like her dad being like an alcoholic and him being like abusive like towards like the family and but like um but also having like that like shared experience of like being in the US and like kind of like finding like the American dream through
mhm,
like money
mhm.
and so like when you know within our culture like the $2 bill is like something like really like special to us. It
Yeah,
means something different than like someone like an American like
right.
and to her like she had kept that those $2 bills and until like she went to college and she had like realized like oh like she's also like an alcoholic. She
Mhm,
became an alcoholic and but now like she doesn't like want to like be like with her family anymore and she kind of like stepped away from that and now like kind of like struggling like kind of like beating that and becoming like herself again. And then so I wanted to like I wanted um to focus on that, like with my own family and my own story and like my own traditions. And that's when like when Perry, what? Oh, not Perry,
Sorry.
when Emmanuel,
Emmanuel, yeah.
when he had texted me like, oh, like I wanted to invite you to be in the show, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm actually working on this piece, like, and I feel like this would be like this would be really good at the Cheech.
Yeah.
And he said like, yeah, sure, like like he would just gave me like the freedom to do that, and I was just like, oh yeah. And then and then that's when like I started painting it. Like it was just like a portrait of like my family, and you can tell like how like the placement, usually like the parents are like on the side, like kind of like having like that like sturdiness of like a whole family together. But instead, like both of my parents have their eyes closed, and like
Mm.
and my brother is actually on like holding my dad like that, like oh like holding him up,
Mm-hmm.
because I guess he was like he is the man of the family, because my dad wasn't like really like
There.
there, like he was just like like drunk. And so like you can tell like the dynamic of it, but also him being like encouraging, like, oh, like you have a better chance of living your dreams than me, like, and you take it. And um I feel like that's what like the $2 represents, like
Hmm.
holding that like dream, like, oh, like I can make it, like I can make it. And then yeah.
Okay. There's a very interesting the composition layout, what you're saying of them not being sort of, I guess, like at the heads of the table,
Mm-hmm.
and them sort of almost like you said, like the eyes closed, like having to be forced to be not forced, but just sort of like having somebody else lift them up instead of like
Mm-hmm.
being on their own.
Yeah.
Was that based, was a reference off of a photo you had?
Yeah, like
Okay.
they had already had their eyes closed, and all of our eyes were like open, like all the kids and my
Oh,
siblings.
interesting.
They're like had like our eyes open, just like looking into the camera, like, and like like kids are like smarter than you think.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like, and they think like that they don't notice those things, like what your parents are like, what they're doing and what they're saying. And I feel like you just like when you're a kid, like you hold on to that, like that's like what you grow up, and that's what you're used to. And then like when you're older, you're like, oh, like this isn't like right,
Right.
like you're not supposed to do this, like, and you're like, like you build like a different like.
Like understanding,
Yeah.
and you go back and piece things together and you're like, that, who said that was okay? Yeah. But like as a kid you could tell something's wrong, but you just don't have the vocabulary or
Mhm.
sort of have the agency to say it. And then by the time you do start to figure it out, people are like, no, 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 it's fine. And it's not until like you're like an adult that you're able to fully look back on it.
Yeah.
I know that makes absolute sense. Um, and then I'm guessing then the piñatas in front and along with the candy sort of continue to add to that,
Mhm.
talking about the addiction, sort of the candy being there for what's it called? Almost like a comfort or sort of like
Mhm.
a, what did you say earlier?
Like mend the craving.
Mend the craving. There you go. Okay. Um those piñatas, you said earlier you made them?
Oh yeah, I did make so I learned how to sew.
Okay.
So that was like my first like sewing project, and I really like it. So I'm gonna continue that medium.
Hmm.
And for like the ribbons, like I think working with ribbon, like it's like really tedious whenever you're making like the piñatas, like, cause like in the cones, like you gotta like cut them, and like they become like little like rectangles.
Hmm. Like the
But
little, I'm not ruffles, but sort of like, yeah.
so like whenever you cut ribbon, they'll like frail out. So then you would have to burn them.
Yeah.
So I had to burn every single cut that I did on the piñatas around. and it was like really hard. Like I stayed up for like I don't know, like weeks, like just doing that.
Yeah.
And it was just like really hard. It was not like, but I love the process and the journey of it. It was just that part was just not my favorite part. It was like really hard. I was like, dude, like how do people do this? Like, is there an easier way? And there's not. Well, is
Wow.
there?
I mean, I think it just sort of also depends on what material you. I don't know, because I growing up I would make piñatas, but we would make them out of paper mache, and
Mhm.
then we would just use tissue paper on the outside. So when you would just cut it to make those strips, it was paper, so we didn't have
Mhm.
to worry about that. With ribbon, I don't know. I think, yeah, with ribbon, especially if it is like polyester and wool frill, like, s- but burning the edges is kind of the only way.
Mhm. Yeah. So I had to do that.
Yeah.
And then what else? It was made like the base like was made out of like cardboard and paper.
Mhm.
And then like on top of it is like ribbons. And like I don't know, I feel like ribbon is such like a feminine thing. Like well to me in our culture, like I
Mhm.
feel like you see it like in folklorico like dances
Mhm.
and like
And the hair.
in our like huipiles, like it's like used like a lot for like accessories, and I think it's just like really pretty to use, and I just wanted to like add that like add that. I just like I don't know, I just
Mhm.
like that.
What made you not want to use hair? Because you said in your previous
Oh
projects you used
yeah.
hair on the tips of it, but this one it is ribbons. Was there a specific reason why you were like, no, no hair, just ribbons?
No, I feel like I just wanted that whole like ribbon like finish
Okay.
like that, just like bow on the top, like just like finish like
Hmm.
I don't know.
When you used the hair for the last one, was it because it was more of like a self portrait of you in the piñata?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense then. Okay. Um, and then you also had the candy at the bottom, in which you encouraged people to sort of take a piece.
Mhm.
When do you have sort of a goal or anything that like you hope people sort of see when they go and like see your piece, interact with it? Like, is there something that you hope they gain from it, or that they take away, or something that they feel like when they engage with this piece specifically?
Mm, I just want them to feel like not scared of like being next to it.
Hmm.
Like like I know like well when I was there like I noticed that like a lot of like the people are like no don't touch it. Like
Hmm.
don't touch it. Don't go next to it. Like that's like a piece. Like that's only for art. And
Hmm.
then I'm like but like it is like well like it's like interactive art. Like you're
Hmm.
supposed to touch it. So like go ahead and touch it. Like it's okay. So like I don't want anybody to be like scared of it, like you know, cause it's like meant to be like touched. It's meant to be like explored with, and yeah.
Okay. And when they do take a piece, and they're like tasting the candy, do you want them to sort of do you hope that they see where you're coming from, or do you hope that they just sort of have a good time, like enjoying?
I hope they just enjoy it.
Okay.
Like it's like well to me like I just did it for myself, but if they like I just want them to have like this like nostalgia feeling like
Hmm.
oh like this is like good like you know like
Hmm.
but if they get it, they get it. If they don't, like, it's okay. Like, they don't have to get that. They don't need to get it. Like, cause like I know like some people do. Like I would like talk to like people like from the Ram. Like, I met like this like man, and he told me that his dad would also like use that because he was addicted to like meth,
Hmm.
and and um and that sugar helped with the cravings. So that's when I like started like noticing like oh like that's like a universal thing like
Hmm.
with like addiction, like you use something else to help with the craving, and like that like made me like stick with it, like just use that like forever.
Hmm. Okay, so it's also one of those like the people who like get it will like instantly understand
Mhm.
like, oh, I see where this is coming from.
Mhm.
Okay, but you're like, but everyone else like as long as y'all are having a good
Yeah.
time. Okay, I think that's very sweet. I definitely do think for me, it was a much more, I guess, like the nostalgia of it, because like the color palette almost reminded me of like an old photo, or like you're trying to like almost like remember something and you're just like seeing it all, but then like again, like yeah, same thing of like once you start looking at it a little closer, you're like, was that a good memory?
Yeah.
It's sort of how I have begun to like interpret it the more I go and see it and interact with it, and yeah. Was there a reasoning for it being on a wooden board instead of like a traditional canvas?
Mm, not really. Like I
Okay.
just like I was also like doing like wood projects like on the side. So like I had that piece laying around and I felt like it was like just something like sturdy. I like things like to be sturdy. Like sometimes I don't like painting on canvas cuz it's like usually I don't make my canvas like good. Like
Hmm.
so it'll be like kind of like floppy.
Got it.
Like
Oh yeah, making canvases by like yourself is it's tricky. Okay. So you're like, I just want something
yeah,
that
just
works.
easy like
Okay. I'm curious now, because this is now your second time in a museum.
mhm.
How has that been for you? How is that sort of feeling of knowing that like your work is of the caliber to be displayed at a museum, and that like you are, somebody to be like you're not just doing this like you said earlier, like this isn't just a hobby, like this is something greater.
I feel like I'm privileged. Like I feel
Hmm.
really like privileged and lucky. I kept saying like lucky, like when I had gotten, I was like, oh yeah, I got really lucky. I'm like really lucky. And then like like my aunt got mad at me and she's like, no, you're not lucky. Like you're like there for a
Yeah,
reason. Like you did that.
it's not
And
just luck, girl, you got talent. Okay. Do you feel at all any what's it called, it almost sounds like you have a bit of like imposter syndrome, or no,
impulsive?
imposter syndrome. Like you feel like, because you're like, oh, it's just because I'm lucky, and it's like, no, girl, it's not just luck.
Uh, um, I don't know. Like I do feel like I do work hard sometimes.
Okay, good.
But like I don't feel like I don't know. Like I know like I work like really hard on the crafts and like on my projects. But like I don't really know. Like
Hmm.
what's imposter?
Imposter syndrome is sort of like you feeling like an imposter, you feeling like a fraud, or like you don't belong. Let's see what the define imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, the persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved, or one has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So okay.
Yeah, I felt like it was just like at first like I'm like, oh yeah, I got really lucky.
Hmm.
Like with my first solo show, I worked really hard like cuz I wasn't in the major, like I had to tell like I had to make like my professor like believe in me
Hmm.
and like say like, oh, like I want to do this. I really want to do this and I feel like it's going to come out really good. And I promise like it won't like be a mess.
Hmm.
And I had like begged like really hard and
Okay.
like I was just like I can do this. I can do this. He was like, "Okay."
See, you got this. Okay. So that was, I'm guessing for that you had to do like a whole proposal and a whole,
Mhm.
okay. See, so you know what you're doing. Don't get in your head about that. Okay, because the next question I was gonna ask about being in a museum is sort of like, how does it feel knowing that you're gonna be now like being in the lexicon in the history of Chicano or Chicana, Chicanx art? Do you think about that?
Um, Sometimes
Okay.
I don't really know. Um,
Like years from now, someone's gonna be referencing your painting and your work, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, if she could do it like this, I want to do that too." Like, have you had experiences like that?
like 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 how?
Like, just sort of like folks coming up to you and being like, "That was so inspiring. Like, I want to do something like this."
Oh yeah.
Like, how does that? I don't know. How's that like?
I don't know. Like I don't know.
Do you?
Like I've mm, they do it to me when like I'm actually like making the work
Okay.
like in the RAM like you're um you actually start like installing like working on it like well I had gotten permission to like paint on the walls
Yeah.
and then when the visitors come and like see that like they start like talking to you about it and um like there was this like one time where this mom and her little girl was coming by and she was like, "Look, Gabriela, like she's an artist, like you can be an artist too." And I was like, "What the hell? That's so weird cuz like my name's like Gabriela too." And I thought like, "Oh, what a coincidence." Like I like being like that. Like I feel like, "Oh, like yeah, like you can do like anything like like to like kids like I feel like you can be anything like I don't know, like I just like want like kids to be encouraged to do
Mhm.
that. Like, I don't really know what I'm saying.
No, yeah, that makes sense. You just want to continue to inspire them and give them like someone else to look up to.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone as you were like coming up as an artist to look up to?
Like another artist?
Another artist, either like I'm guessing, well, I know you said your dad making the signs. Was it just him? Were you looking at someone like, I don't know, like a Frida Kahlo, or like, were you just like, no, I just liked art?
Mm,
Because I know that it could be a little bit challenging to be inspired by folks who you feel like just don't really represent or are really, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Um, well, like my two older siblings, like my oldest sister and my brother, they were artists too. They are artists.
Okay.
My sister used to paint like with oil paint and like my brother would do like sculpture pieces with like glass and stuff.
Mm,
And yeah, like I grew up in a family that was like with like artists,
okay.
like a bunch of like they just like do that like on their spare time and
Hmm.
stuff like and I think that like really like inspired me like to be like kind of like diverse
Hmm.
and like oh like I want to do installation and I want to do painting or I want to do sculpture and like and then I just want everything like
Yeah.
to be together. I don't know.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay. So you had a little bit of a what's it called? Like your own little group of artists within your home.
Mhm.
Okay. Such a slay. See, you are talented. You do come from a lineage of that then.
Mhm.
Don't let anybody put any of those mean thoughts in your head. Do you have anything upcoming that you would like to let the audience know, or anything that maybe you're looking forward to do? I know you said the pop-up book, which I'm so excited for. Yeah, what else do you have in store?
Just a bunch of painting and installation work. Just like I'm just working right now.
Okay. You're just making work. You're just
Mhm.
doing it. Okay. Period. Well, yeah, if y'all love her work, please put her in every show you possibly can. She's an incredible artist and will shine no matter where you put her.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Let them know where they can find you. You got Instagram, a website, plugin, whatever you want.
My Instagram is evie.bites and yeah.
Slay, okay. And my Instagram everywhere is just Art Perry. I have the podcast Red Thoughts Perry, as well as my website, perrypicasso.com, as well as now my portfolio, picasso.com. Finally got that shit up and running. Um, yeah, thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad I got to interview you. We got to, chat a little, got to learn more about you, your work, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Perry.
Yeah, of
Oh my
course.
God, Perry.
Woo! Ciao.